Hi, I'm Bruce Burke. We're back with another episode of the AI Bros, the weekly 6 weeks, 7 weeks, 6 weeks now. I think 7 weeks. We're
Wow,
we're going at it, folks. I've got my
that's crazy.
co-host John Lawson. He's right over here to me. I don't know where he is to you guys, but he's right over here to me. How you doing, John? What's going on?
I'm doing fantastic, man.
Great,
All
great.
good. All good.
So kick it off. What are you seeing? What are you doing? Or what do you know new about AI since we talked last? What's going on here?
I don't know. I mean, a lot of things, nothing, all at the same time. It's always something, man. It's always
Yeah.
something. Um, I don't know. Uh, Bing took the AI video creation to the next level in that they are now giving people access to Sora through Bing Video on the mobile app. So that's kind of cool.
So
So you got
through
free
the Bing,
video.
so there's a Bing mobile app. So it's a Bing search app, I'm guessing, kind of a thing. And they can go use Sora AI, OpenAI Sora through the Bing app. Okay,
Yeah,
that's a
yeah. You can
Microsoft
create
product.
videos with your words for free. And it's called Bing Video Creator, but it's really Sora. So there you go. You know,
Nice, and
and
it's
it
free,
can,
absolutely free.
and it's free. That's the key. It's
Have you
free.
have you used it? Have you used it to generate yet?
Not yet. I haven't used that interface yet.
Okay.
But I can test it right now while I'm here. But I mean, I don't do a lot of video generating. I don't
Yeah.
know why.
I haven't done really any yet, other than like when you generate an image in Meta, you can then say generate video, and it just like kind of animates it for a second. It's like at the max, it's 3 or 4 seconds, right? And it's really just
Right.
kind of moving the camera angle on the thing, right? There's not much to it really as far as like real animation. I wouldn't call it, right? It's more of a make it move thing, right? But yeah, I like I told you, I'm into the comics from way back in the day, and I want to do either a comic book or a video of a comic superhero, one of the two, right? Using AI, because I used to draw comics when I was a kid. I used to create entire, comic books, right, from scratch, and heroes
Oh
and
wow.
the story and everything when I was, 10, 11, 12 years old. I was like one of those kind of nerdy kids, right? So, but yeah, I find myself wanting to do the things that I used to do that I was kind of frustrated with in art because I couldn't relay what I saw in my brain to, what I wanted to put on the canvas, essentially, right? Not always. A lot of times I can, but not always. So I'm kind of turning back to that. It's kind of interesting.
That is interesting. So this will give you like 5 seconds. It's not like, long formatted video, but you can give it a simple prompt like, busy coffee shop, boom, and it'll generate a 5 second video that could be usable for marketing, or, social media, something like that. And it's a start. It's
Yeah.
a start.
Well, if you
And
really
that's
think
pretty
about it,
exciting.
with the way things are edited now, opposed to like the 60s and the 70s when you and I grew up, editing is a lot more choppy, a lot more rapid fire now, right? They're shooting from this angle, and now they're shooting from this angle. It's this character, now it's this character, now it's the area that they're both in, right? It's there's a variety of shots in a movie now, even just in one scene, and most of them, if you really watch them, really, unless it's like that cameo moment when they're given their line, right? Most of the shots really aren't more than 4 or 5 seconds to begin with in a movie, right? So
I
you
know.
could make a movie out of 4 or 5 second shots, right? I mean,
Right. People
seriously.
don't people don't get that. But yeah, if you sit down and just watch, a TV show or a movie and just count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then the angle will change
Yeah.
pretty much every time. yeah, that's part of the reason I think why they started with these 5 second, you know, clips. It's like, okay, this is actually usable. And I've seen people take these, stream them together, and make a whole, you know, 30 seconds, 60 seconds, 10
There was
minutes.
there was something I watched the other day, and I'm trying to remember what it was. Is exactly what you're talking about. They strung it together, and I think they put together like it's 5 or 7 minutes, right? But
Hmm.
it was, you know, 4 second, 5 second clips, and I can see that being done, um,
Yeah.
especially
And
in
now
comic books
as
because
it
it's
gets
like
better,
punch, bang, wow, bop, bing. The comic books is like it's like very Batman like, right? If you think of the old Batman series, it's like that, right? It's frame to frame, the villain saying something and the hero saying, retorting with some smart line, and that's pretty much all it is, so
yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of video creation done this year. A lot. And as you see in like, I don't know if I'm sure you've seen the talking baby videos going viral this week, right? And
I,
more,
I
you're going to
can
see more and more of that.
I could generate that right out of Riverside. That's a new feature they got. Like I could turn you and I into talking babies, like right out of this. Yeah, right out
Oh,
of
really?
Riverside. There's also
Oh, you got to
animation.
do one. Oh,
I,
that's awesome.
yeah, I want to see Bruce. I've done an animation one. You can generate animated versions also, right? But I haven't figured out how to line the. It had both of us talking at the same time, but it was like you were using my voice, and it was not synced up. So
Oh,
I got to dig in a little more. I haven't had much time lately. I've been tied up doing some other stuff, but yeah, Riverside. I was just before you came in. I was the last email I was looking at. They're announcing a new feature. You're talking about teleprompters and stuff. A lot of times when you're recording, what you want to see is yourself, but you also want to see a script. And a lot of people use a split screen to do that. Like I'm seeing you right now on one side, and I'm on the other side, and then there's a little control panel over here. They're doing a thing, and I think the script used to have it where if you're reading off a teleprompter and you're not looking directly at the camera, the
you moved your
software
eyes.
will realign your eyes directly with the camera using AI,
Yeah.
of course, right? I'm getting ready to start producing a series. I've been doing those voiceover clips of the lead story every day, but what I want to start doing is 1 minute videos of me doing the story, right? And when I turn this camera, I got to when I flop it to the right, it goes onto the 916 resolution for short form video, right? So I'm ready to go. I just need to. I wanted to get this capability so I can read off the teleprompter that's over here and look over here, but you guys think I'm looking over here. That will be fantastic. It's an upgrade in Riverside, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. That you could also use like HeyGen and make a, clone of yourself. And
I
you
thought
can
about
make,
doing that too, and
yeah,
just
it's
let it
getting
do the
better.
voice, right? Just record the voice, record the story, and let the AI do the automated Bruce, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, you don't even have to. I mean, you train the voice, and now you just upload the text, and it'll put it
Really?
in your voice, add your face to it, and it'll look like you talking.
Wow. What now? What's that
Yeah.
one? Is that the Gen
Hey,
Spark
Jen.
you're talking? Oh, hey Gen.
No,
Okay,
Hey, Jen. Mm-hmm.
okay.
Hey,
Yeah,
Jen's like $30 a month. You can do 5 minute long videos, but as we were saying again, if I can do five and five and five, you got unlimited amounts of those. You put them together, and you got a video.
you got a news report right there. You got
You
a
got a
half hour
news
news
report.
report, right? Hey,
Yeah, it's
that's
getting,
something to
and
think
like I
about.
say, anything that you see today is the worst it will be. So we are just that far away,
Well, I
that
have to
far
give
away.
I have to give credit where credit's due. Last time we talked, you recommended GenSpark, and I follow Anthropic on LinkedIn. And the other day, I was going on LinkedIn to post one of our clips from our show here, and I ran across a post from Anthropic saying, hey, we really like GenSpark. You guys should use GenSpark. They're using our stuff. Bing, bang, boom. We love them. They use Claude and to make their super agent that they're using that's doing all this stuff. And I was like, oh, look at this. Like, John was just talking about this. And now here's Anthropic, like, championing them on. Apparently, very quick rise, like 10 million ARR for this company, for this GenSport company, like really like blew right up in the post. So
Oh wow.
Anthropic was really applauding them as a partner.
No, I love it. I'm going deep. Now you just, kind of pushed me in because I was thinking earlier this week, I'm like, I think I'm going to really go deep on GenSpark. I already bought into it, bought a, pro level version of it. I mean, it's not expensive, but and I could probably get rid of paid versions of other LLMs. Like I wouldn't have to have, but I'll probably keep a pro version of um, neither one of them. It could replace having to use a pro version of ChatGPT or a pro version of you know Anthropic, Claude. So because I can get access to all of that in you know GenSpark, so I might do
Yeah,
that.
and they were essentially like, hey, if you're a coder, right, if you're doing, if you want to do multiple things, just like what you said, you want to generate images, you want to generate video, you want to generate some code, you want to build some projects, they're like, this is the tool for you. They're not even saying come to us, they're saying, hey, GenSparks,
No,
we're all good with them, right? On another note, at the same time, they're saying, hey, we're not all right with Windsurf over here because Windsurf is being acquired by OpenAI, and we're terminating our contract with Windsurf, and we're not going to allow them access to Claude and Opus and all these things anymore because it's like we're selling Claude to OpenAI, right?
yeah.
And Windsurf was very upset about that. They're like, Claude are some of the tools that people come to Windsurf for, right? And
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. I'm not gonna. Why would you fuel your competition?
yeah,
That makes no sense.
it's
You
like,
you
here's our
sold.
gasoline, right?
Yeah, I mean, you sold out to our competitor, so now we're going to cut you off. I mean, there's no reason. Look, I don't know why they didn't see that one coming.
I I sometimes I think that people aren't aware of like how reliant they are on an outside provider. They think that it's like all me, right? I I've seen that, companies get, listen, in normal business, companies get complacent and somebody comes along and eats their lunch, or they make a misstep and somebody comes. It's going to happen much faster in AI. OpenAI just paid $3 billion for this company. And essentially now, other than having the OpenAI codex, and I guess they got a few others that you can go on, probably Gemini and a few others you can code with. But like most of the coders are saying, Claude is the bee's knees when it comes to coding. So
Yeah, I mean, look, the deal is they knew they built or they used the back end was Claude. It was Anthropic. They knew that, right? And if that, so a OpenAI buys them, why would they leave their back end open to OpenAI? And then OpenAI folds this in to their offering, which ultimately they're going to do. So why would you do that? I just don't see why that's so shocking to them.
yeah,
I mean,
and
come on,
and I
give me a
imagine
break.
right now I imagine just like in the AI business right now, like these APIs and what people are paying to utilize these APIs right now is not really in line with like how much it costs to produce this stuff, right? There's a lot of we're giving it away right now to get business, to build.
Somewhat, but I mean, if you listen to like what Jason talk from NVIDIA, he's talking about how the cost goes down to zero. I mean, we're on a race to the bottom. There's no upside on this part. You're going to have to add value because this is going to be the base everybody's going to code on top of. So I again, you know, and I see them trying to do this, right? So you got the $200 version of ChatGPT Pro, right? And you got the $200 version of Anthropic's Pro version. But do I really need that? Isn't that somewhat overkill when I can just pay per use with the API? And with the NCPs coming up, NPC, whatever, you know, as those get more and more prevalent, you're just going to be connecting to the back end and paying for what you use. And at the same time, as they try to make their usage prices even on the back end with the API, then you've got DeepSeek jumping in there and cutting their pricing like 10% of what these guys are charging. So it's like I just don't see it's a race to the bottom.
Commodity, a
It's like yeah,
commodity. It's like
absolutely.
telecom. They become the dumb pipes, just like in telecom. They're
That's what
just
it is.
they're a conduit for commerce and business and that sort of thing. I can
You're
totally
gonna
see
have
that.
to add value. Oh yeah, that's where we're headed. That's where we're headed. On a rapid pace, way faster than any of them even thought we're going to happen. It's happening so quickly now, so quickly.
I just saw where I was reviewing the news quickly before we started. Amazon just announced North Carolina a $10 billion data AI data center going into Richmond County. I don't know where that is in North Carolina. I lived in Western North Carolina when I was a kid, but probably around Research Triangle area, but not like directly in that area. But I don't know. But you know,
Now it's
they're
probably a little further
yeah.
because when they make those data centers, they need a lot of space.
Yeah, it's they didn't mention a city, so I imagine it's kind of overlapping a couple. I don't know. I quickly read the article and I was looking for a city name and I didn't see one. And but uh, you know they're going at it $10 billion. That's going to do a lot for that county in North Carolina. All kinds of network
Absolutely.
engineers moving in and you know all kinds of commerce going on there. That's going to be great for that area.
Yep,
So.
yep. More jobs, more jobs. It's coming. So all this talk about, AI putting people out of work, there's also people that are getting work. Somebody's got to build the data centers
And
for
maintain
now.
them and all the ecos. So when you build something that large, right, that's essentially like a factory, right? You've got a little
Yeah,
factory town that always builds up around outside of it, right? And you know there's a lot of ancillary businesses that kind of pop up around it to kind of support the whole thing, right? You got to have all kinds of services in that area, and
yeah.
all kinds
You
of
got to feed the
support and
workers.
maintenance. Yeah, you got to feed
Yeah,
the workers. You got to
you
get
got
them
to
back
feed
and
the
forth to
workers.
work.
You got
Yep.
to have hotels for people that are coming in for meetings at the plant, and there's a whole lot of income that comes to an area when you got a big data center like that coming in. So good on them. Good on them. Did you see the announcement from ChatGPT about record?
No, I didn't see
Did
that.
you? Okay, so ChatGPT just released something called Record, right? And it's record mode where you can turn ChatGPT into your like you turn the phone on, it listens to everything that's going on in the meeting, and it'll record it, and then it will transcribe it automatically. It'll turn it into notes, it'll give you action items, and all that kind of good stuff. So you just start the recording and speak naturally, and then when you finish, it will generate the notes, and it's like from there, you can edit them, transform them into other things. You can find all your notes later. So it's got, the global search and all that kind of cool stuff coming in. coming in.
So that's a lot like there was a product that was being hyped
It
about a
is
month ago.
yes.
Plod, it was called. It was like it looked like an old cigarette case, right? It looked like a silver
Right.
cigarette case, right?
Yep.
And if they're putting out something like that, that kind of aligns with they're going to release some kind of device with Joni Ive also, right? Like that service that you're talking about, that record service that's running full time, could be on this device. That device could be a capture device for that, I guess is the right word.
Yep. Yeah. That totally makes sense. You know, and I've been watching some videos around. You know, everybody trying to figure out what the new device is going to be and how it's going to work. You know, because it's a third device, which is kind of crazy. We're going to have another device, but
Yeah.
it's not going to be something that you have to wear necessarily. So, because you can sit it on your desk and it'll work.
Yeah, there was a few images that I saw of something that was both kind of wearable and
Hmm.
deskable, as you just said, right?
Right.
There's a few that
A
look
little
like
round thing, like a
yeah.
little round amulet kind of thing. Yeah.
I've seen everything from the what looks like the I've fallen and I can't get up button, right? The one of those, right? And everything from that to a brooch to a necklace to a medallion to right. Everybody
And
that
it will be
does
none of those things.
right. This is Joni Ive. You know it's going to be look totally different than what everybody else is thinking about, right?
Yeah, it'll be none of those things. I remember before the iPhone and all the things they claimed that it might be. It came out to be nothing like that.
That's true. That's true.
So
I was
here
watching
we
the
are.
interview with I was watching the interview with him, and he was talking about he's like a real designer cares about the dovetails at the back of a drawer that probably nobody will ever see because the drawer's inside of the bureau or whatever, right? And
Hmm.
and he's like, that's what we did at Apple, right? If you open up a MacBook, if you take the cover off the bottom of a MacBook and you look inside of it, the way it's designed and the way it looks versus like if you open up a Windows machine or like a
Beautiful. It's
MSI or
beautiful.
it's designed, right?
Yeah.
Steve believed in design all the way to the product box, right? From
Yep.
the from the
Yep.
from the device all the way to the what's going to be sitting on the store shelf.
Yep.
So
And to how you open it.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
How that box functions when you open it, and how it presents the product to you, and how the box is manufactured, all kinds of stuff, right? Like the MacBook boxes forever. It's like it used to be with the iPhones because they were the big thick ones, right? It would take forever to get the air pressure that you had, right, to separate the top and the bottom. It was kind of like oh come on, I want to see this new gadget.
It's hey, I just bought one over the Christmas holiday, and I still look. That's funny you'd say that. It's still the box is sitting right here,
Yeah.
and what he's talking about, guys, is when you let go of the bottom, it takes a minute for the air to get in before it falls. But that's
It
how you're sitting there. You're waiting. It's like, can I get inside?
see it.
Yes,
It's like that old Heinz 57
experience.
or the ketchup commercial with the antis. You're like, oh, come on. I want to see it. And it's like, oh, I'm not coming out of there yet, especially when it
But
arrives from
they're
the factory. I think they
yeah,
pull
the
all the air out
unboxing
of
is
there.
amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, the unboxing on any product is a very important experience for the consumer. That's coming from, of course, my econ days. But, you always got to think about how people will feel when they get the product in hand. That is the customer experience. All the things you did up before that can be completely 100% on point. But when they open that box, if that experience is bad, then the whole customer journey sucks as far as they're concerned.
Yeah, I was just watching. The Switch 2 just came out, the gaming handheld, Nintendo, and everybody's reviewing it. And I was surprised when they opened up the box. It's in plastic bags, which seems to be kind of going away in tech delivery, but it was in plastic bags. And I was watching Linus, and he's like, uh, apparently some stores, when you buy something like that, they staple the receipt to the top of the box, so when you're leaving the place, it's showing that you got it. And apparently it was boxed screen up, and so when they were stapling the box, they were stapling into the screen, and so now Nintendo is going to
Yeah.
flip the unit over, right, so that it's not screen up, right, when you get there. And I mean,
Wow, that's
Apple ships
crazy.
screen down, right? You always see the cameras first when you open the box, when you open your Apple. So,
But dang, man, can you imagine having your screen damaged just because of the receipt being stapled to the box? Oh man, that sucks.
yeah,
That really sucks.
it's
I'd be
probably,
so pissed.
and they're
I'd be
probably
so
really hard to
pissed.
get right now, like they all are. When anytime new gaming consoles come
Yeah,
out, right, all the scalpers run and snatch up everything they can, and
yeah. People were
force the
standing
price
in
up.
line.
Yeah.
Haven't seen that in a while either.
No, that's kind of went away. But this is Nintendo's got a core audience that just loves Nintendo, right?
Yeah, and they've
I
been waiting extra long.
Yeah,
I think it was delayed. I think their launch was delayed. It was supposed to come out before Christmas.
yeah.
So
And it's been years in the anticipation. Everybody was waiting for what they call a Pro, right? They had the OLED, but it was just a OLED upgrade, right? But now they got this what you could consider a Pro model of the previous Nintendo Switch, right? I watched some videos of the sound effects that it has when you're going through the interface and making your settings and that sort of thing. Made it sound. It looks really well built, and the sound effects. It's like click, snap, pop, beep, boop. I was watching Marquez Brownlee, and the sound effects that were going with it. I was like, wow, that looks really neat to play with, right? It looks really fun,
you want one now?
and it's very Nintendo sound effect kind of thing,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Mario kind of stuff, right?
So you want one?
Yeah, I want everything, John. You know what I mean? I'm an N64 guy. That was like my first console, right? Was the N64. GoldenEye was the first 3D game, GoldenEye 007, right? And I told you about my interaction with NVIDIA's first AI that was in the video games, right? I just read earlier that they're saying that the AI is, also pushing into the gaming industry also, and I think that's interesting. I've seen stuff like Nvidia has stuff where like uh, it's like a settings wizard. It helps you make the settings more based on your gameplay. If you're doing like the AAA games, I don't know, the shoot 'em ups, Call of Duty, I don't know what they are. I don't play that stuff anymore. But apparently, it's got like a co-pilot that's riding along with you, like riding shotgun with you while you're gaming, and suggesting, oh, hey, maybe you should grab your machine gun now rather than your pistol. I don't know, but that seems to be a thing, and so I think that if they're able to vibe code applications and vibe code, web apps, I would think vibe coding is all over gaming right now because that's, a very expensive ordeal to put together a game. I don't know how much they're using vibe coding in gaming, but I would think that would be a big application for it.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, coding just in general is having a resurgence in a way they probably had no idea was coming. I just remember everybody was like, if you want to make sure you had a job in the, digital age, learn how to code. Well, guess what? Not so much anymore.
But all the rest of these people starting to code and them not really knowing how to code, right? Like you get to a certain point and you got to have some knowledge of how to do something, right? You got to hook it to a database, hook it to some servers, right? Load some kind of software on the server that talks to the app, blah, 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 all kinds of stuff, right? So at some point, you really need somebody at some point that knows how to code, even if it's a quick and dirty guy that knows how
Yeah,
to,
I mean, you need senior level coding, but the entry level coding, and then if the entry level coding is not there, how do you become a senior level?
Exactly. So, one, I think it's going to make a lot more software engineers, right? But two,
Hmm.
I think it's going to employ a lot more software engineers, but even in a more senior role than they already were, right? Because they're really necessary now for like deployment, right? Because you can't deploy something that's like vibe coded. I mean, people are, but you know what I mean. You know, you want to have something a little more resilient and ready for the real world market kind of a thing, right? So
It's coming. It's coming. I think more than anything, it's like the amount of jobs will decrease, not necessarily that your job is in trouble. I just think that and the amount of output that coders will be able to put out now is going to increase 10x for any coder.
yeah,
Big,
uh,
big change.
yeah. You know, you were talking about that last week. You said the it was the Anthropic. It was able to do 7 hours straight, right? That thing
Right,
going for
right.
7 hours straight is probably equivalent to 10 regular coders working 7 hours
Hmm.
straight. I mean,
Right.
if not more,
It
right? I
doesn't
mean,
have to
that
go to the
thing,
bathroom, doesn't have to take lunch,
but
doesn't
I've
have to
worked
take phone
around
calls.
coders in a lot of different places that I've worked, and they're not generating blocks of code. I can't even, I'm not even fitting in the window. They're not generating that much code in 40 seconds the way these things are. I mean, this thing generates a whole
Insane.
class, I mean, like from nothing, right?
It's
Listen, I don't
insane.
know what I'm talking about when it comes to programming, but I know the AI is writing it very rapidly.
Speaking of Anthropic, did you hear about Reddit suing them?
I had it on my list here, but I want you to talk about it because I just saw it really quickly and I didn't dive into it. So,
So yeah, basically Reddit is suing Anthropic, which makes Claude, of course, for using their posts to train their AI without their permission. And why does that matter? Well, because, all that social media posts, all your blog articles, your customer reviews, all that stuff has value. And a lot of it's being used to train AI. And, Reddit is like, look, we didn't give you permission, and now you need to pay us for it. So that's going to court at some point. And of course, the legal landscape is going to probably shift based on a case like this. This is going to set precedents, and we'll see where that lands. But I'm guessing at some point, you're just not going to have the ability to sue these companies for doing stuff like that. Now, they might have to pay you some royalty, but you can't unlearn everything it learned already.
right, they're not going to take it out.
You
And
can't.
I have to think that, like, at this point, like any repository of, a glut of information on the web, YouTube, Reddit, right, Facebook, anything that's a big draw, Medium, right,
Yeah.
Substack, any of that stuff that has, a large grouping of information, the Library of Congress. I'm sure all that stuff's been crawled multiple times. Now, Google's already done it just to crawl it to index it all, right? And
Right, right, right.
I mean, they're using that. They're using Google crawls it and indexes it in order to make it searchable, so they can charge for ads to get people to you. So, like,
Hello?
what is the difference there, right? I mean, like,
Wow. You might have just slam dunked the case right there. You might have just slam dunked that case
I
because
mean,
Google has used it, used all your data, you know, and they benefit from scraping your data. It's not going to work.
I remember when Google first came out and was, unlike you young kids, Google didn't always exist. It hasn't existed forever. But I remember when they first came out, they were like, hey, we're scanning like every page of every catalog that's ever been made, like the Sears catalog, J.C. Penney, right? Like, and like we're scanning the worlds. They started at like that kind of level, right? Like
Yeah.
textbooks, like this, like that, right? And then they went out to the street, right? And the maps and the houses and the businesses and all that information that's out there, right? And then all the
Hmm.
just everything, right? So how different is that than what these other guys are doing? Listen, I think anybody listen, my Google reviews, I'm not getting paid for, right? I'm getting visibility out of it, but I'm not getting paid for it, right? At a certain point, you got to understand if you're not paying for the service, you're probably the product, right? And you're generating the
Hmm.
content, right, that other people come there to see, right? Like Facebook, like like everything, right? So I have to think that if you want people to come see content and you want people to generate content, you got to kind of be all right with people coming to collect that content.
It's
And
happened forever.
yeah, I mean,
It's
I
happened
learned
forever.
from books that somebody else wrote. Obviously they sold it to somebody, but I mean, I learned to draw from comic books. I didn't learn to draw from thin air, right? I learned to draw from comic books. So it's hard to definitively say like, okay, so I mean, like I've been to Reddit. Like, how much intellect are you actually coming up with out of Reddit? I mean, really, there is some very informative stuff there, but there's a lot of meme
Yeah,
stuff
but
and
Reddit
stupid.
doesn't make it.
Right,
I make it,
right.
so it's like Reddit shouldn't even have the ability to own the conversations that you and I have on the platform either. They're not paying. Look, if they got to pay Reddit, then Reddit should be paying me.
And that's where we come into universal basic income. As long as you're participating in the scheme of things, you should get a whoppa every month, right? Like, hey, here's your here's your stimulus every month, right? Go get some new
Yeah,
sneakers, right? But
is it
I
coming?
really
Is it coming?
um you know
Can I
what
have it?
I'm going to find out because on the 10th of this month, thanks to your little bit of coaching there after the last episode, I got Brett King coming on. I'm going to be interviewing Brett King for the absolutely incredible podcast, ladies and gentlemen. And he's all about talking about universal basic income. So I'll get the answer and I'll bring that back here.
Yeah.
That's he's very interested in that subject. And I've looked at it a few times and I kind of think it's of interest. It's part of that world thing that Sam is doing, the I thing. There's uh, you get a monthly doo-wop of crypto by having by scanning your eye and having that thing.
What's
They're
the
opening up.
what? What?
Yeah, there's the war.
Explain. I don't know what. I don't know what
Okay, so
this is.
I told you about Sam's orb thing that you scans your eyeball to verify that you're a human rather than the AI. It's a thing. But there's also a crypto coin associated with that. It's called the World Coin. And when you secure your identity with this, there's a stipend that's given out every month as part of it. You get like a upfront when you initially do it, and then there's a monthly. And I don't know what it is, but it's a crypto. Dig into that a
Hmm.
little bit. Especially they are opening up in Atlanta. There was just a report I saw. They just opened up a new one. I forget where it was. I think it was in New York, and they're scanning people in New York now. I think it was. Oh, it's Miami. That's what it was. It was Miami because Miami is a big crypto area, and so yeah, you want to get in on that. You want to go look at that. I think it's something that you want to kind of align yourself with and know more about because I think it's open AI essentially, right?
Wow. Okay. I don't know if I'm ready to scan my eye, but maybe. Because I know that that is the ultimate digital identification. Um, and once you have that, do I want that biometric identifier? available. I don't know if I'm ready to opt in. I mean, I already did opt in uh, for what's that? Ancestry. Well, not
Oh yeah.
Ancestry, but the other one.
Oh,
Uh, and
23andMe, the DNA.
yeah, and
That's what. Yeah.
now where's my DNA gonna go? Who knows? Who's
It's up
gonna
for
own
sale.
that soon? It's up for sale. Isn't that crazy? I don't
I
know.
mean, if you want to talk about contributing your DNA contribution more than anything else, right? I mean, like that's uh, you know, Reddit's got nothing on 23andMe, right? I mean, like seriously.
No, right? I mean, give me a break. That's minor.
And can AI generate new DNA? Can it generate a whole new life form? Could it? There's a
Oh
question for
wow.
you.
Oh wow. I mean, they're already practicing certain things where they're putting uh, pig items inside of humans. I think it's like a kidney. They're growing these kidneys on pigs, and then they're putting them in humans, and they're testing it. So, I mean, the bio thing is about to really take off. It's about
Oh
to
yeah,
really take off. You know.
anything in the medical is being supercharged by AI, right from
Yeah.
CAT scan all the way down to like what you're talking about, right? It's I got a new doctor and was there, I don't know, 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, and I was showing him I had the meta glasses on. And he's like, "Oh, you're getting into the AI." He's like, "That's really smart, right?" He's, it's a thing that's like really coming. And he's like, and I was going to talk to him about using AI voice because they had somebody calling me every time to verify that I was coming in for my appointment and everything. I was going to talk to him about AI voice, and before I even got there, the next time it was an AI voice calling me. Right, this guy's a new
There
doctor's already adopted it and is already integrating it into his business. So
you go.
it's moving fast. It's moving
It's
fast.
moving very fast. I'll tell you. Uh, Even those on the inside are surprised, and I saw something from the CEO of Anthropic. I don't know, we've mentioned Anthropic like 100 times, which is interesting now that I'm thinking about it. Why is Anthropic so top of mind right now? Interesting.
They, they say that I read an article, and I think I published it in the last newsletter, that they're winning a lot of talent over from OpenAI. Like they're
Are they?
pulling people in there, and a lot of people, essentially the founders, the brother and the sister, Dario and Daniela, actually left, and a lot of other people left to form Anthropic because they weren't all right with like what OpenAI was doing in regards to the safety. And that was
Right.
pretty much the battle cry that they went out there with, right? And they're now continuing to grab people from OpenAI because one, it's like the coder's favorite, they say, right? Everybody that's coding loves OpenAI or loves Anthropic and Claude more than Codex or Windsurf or any of the other ones. And so they're they're bringing the heat, man. OpenAI's been in the lead, but on the leaderboards, on the talent seek, on the money raise, I mean, they just got that 3.5 billion, right, to do whatever they need to do, and a lot of good press. I mean, despite this Reddit thing, I mean, you could say that about every LLM company out there, right? I'm sure they have, but they're doing it seems like they're doing a lot of good stuff, and it seems in my book they're doing it they're a class act. They're doing it like Apple is doing it. They're a class act.
Yeah. Yeah, they are. We are seeing, and they're breaking off. They're determined to have their space in the AI race. They're not trying to be everything the general AI like ChatGPT is. And I think there's room for both for sure. And I don't even compare the two as much as I used to back in the day. I was like, which one? And now I found uses for both in my space. So it's interesting. I'm
They're
excited.
starting to define themselves as by the how most large companies define themselves, kind of like this is our values, right? That's how you can really define a company and really like say who you are, right? And what you stand for and all that sort of thing. That's that's marketing 101, folks. And these guys are definitely doing that. OpenAI is seen as kind of like a maverick, kind of like what Oracle was back in the day. Oracle was kind of the same kind of maverick and didn't care and swagger and all that kind of stuff like OpenAI is doing, right? Uh, and I see I don't see Dario and his sister as like the broligarch, that's out there in the tech world, right? He doesn't come across as like one of those dudes, you know what I mean? Where he seems more of like a Bill Gates kind of a thoughtful guy, kind of a world thinker, kind of a guy.
Yeah, well, I mean, they had a mission and they're sticking to it for now.
Yeah. So God bless him,
So
right? That's a wonderful
good
thing,
on
and
them.
and it's interesting, like you say, if there's a lot being said about a company that that's kind of a natural indicator as to growth and who's on top and what's going on in the industry and all. If it just naturally comes up in conversation, so
So next week should be exciting
yes.
because Apple, because Apple.
I'm waiting, but I'm not as anticipatory as I've been in the past because I kind of feel I'm not going to say let down, but I'm kind of like waiting to be astounded by Apple again. Right?
Hmm.
I've been stars in my eyes emoji, right? With Apple in the past, right? And lately, it's kind of going right, and they're rolling along. Their stock has kind of taken a beating recently. They've kind of taken a beating in the press recently. I did see that what's his name, Daring Fireball, John Gruber, has been doing a after WWDC show every year since WWDC was a thing. This year, Apple is not participating in his show after show because he was the guy that really said like they really stumbled with the Apple intelligence and they and he kind of went out against them, and so they're like, been nice knowing you, John. We like people that are positive about us. We're not coming to your Daring Fireball show this year, right? You're gonna have to get some other
Wow.
people to show up.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Well, it's very telling. Very telling. But
The truth hurts, right? I mean, or maybe
yeah,
he was like the guy. He was like I forget the actual quote, but it was like they didn't deliver what they said they were going to do.
no, they
It was
didn't.
some. No, they didn't, and
I
but
mean, I mean, that's obvious.
yeah,
They got
but
everybody to buy these new iPhones with the promise of new AI features, and they have not delivered.
no. But at the same time, like you said last week, it's not really their ball game, right? That's their. I think for years everybody have said, "Oh, Apple and Google, they're like the same kind of company because they both put out smartphones and they both put out tablets and they both put out like hardware, right?" I don't think Google and Apple are at all alike as far as companies,
No, they're not. No, they're not.
and I don't think Facebook and Google are at all alike as companies.
Nope.
And you know, there's a lot of comparisons drawn between companies that are not really competitors with each other than to get consumers money.
Yeah, I mean, they have overlap. They
Yeah.
do have overlap, but no, they're not. They're not the same thing. And I mean, Apple. This is not the first time Apple has. I think that's the misnomer that people feel like this. Oh, Apple dropped the ball on AI. Apple has dropped the ball on Maps. Apple has dropped the ball on Office uh, applications, Word, spreadsheets. They've tried. a lot of different things and failed at it. And then I mean, it's not a big deal. Trust
How
me,
about they
Apple will
failed on
recover.
calculators for iPads for a decade now? I mean, seriously, right? There's a lot of things that like I had problems for I've got the HomePods, right? The larger ones, and I've got the OG ones, right? The speakers. And I had a
Uh,
problem with them, but I couldn't use them for 6 months. And they're like, they had me going through double backflips and doing all kinds of stuff and logs with engineers and upload them. And ultimately, after hours and hours and days, it was like, hey, you got to wait for the update.
so,
You know,
so same thing with and one thing they're not going to do, I don't think, at this conference is do a lot of AI until they're ready this time. I mean, if you think about it, they came out with Apple Intelligence. They tried to Bigfoot AI, you know, by using Apple Intelligence AI
yeah.
and then didn't deliver. So I don't think they're going to come out the gate swinging like that.
So
That was a bad mistake on their part.
here's a theory. So last year they came out and they said all this stuff, and they really didn't deliver it until like 3/4 of the year was actually gone, and a lot of it still hasn't actually been delivered. Like the
Yes,
promise of Siri doing the summarizations and that kind of stuff, right?
right.
And so now it's not going to be iOS 19 or whatever it is. They're now changing to years, and they're not changing it to iOS 25.
And a
They're
number,
changing it
right.
to iOS 26, kind of indicating that whatever we're telling you about right now really ain't going to happen until after January. So they're really kind of by changing it to 26 instead of iOS 19, and it's going to be Vision OS 26, even though you're only on Vision OS 3 or whatever right now, right? All the TV OS, the Mac OS, all that will be 26. They're going to years now instead of version numbers.
Yeah. And they learned their lesson. They
it,
learned their
it,
lesson.
it's a very marketing way out of continuing to do what you did last year, but just do it by kind of telling people that you're going to do it. I thought,
Pull it back a little bit. I
yeah,
think they understand.
yeah.
AI is racing forward, and they're going to have to get on board at some point, and they don't have to lead the train.
They've been 5 years late to stuff, and then when they finally do put it out, it's heralded as the greatest thing since sliced bread, right?
Right, right.
So I I think they were in a hurry to capture mind share, but not
Yeah,
necessarily market share of AI. But they wanted to capture mind share, and they wanted people to think that Apple. They even called it. It was like this is AI for the rest of us, like us dumb folks, right? That's kind of the way they said it, right?
yeah. But I mean, that's the way it was. I mean,
Yeah.
you have to understand. A year ago, I mean, we've had a year now in AI. People are fine. I'm realizing I'm looking around, and people are finally waking up to AI, and they're starting to cozy up to it. But a year ago, we weren't really there yet. We weren't where we are today as a adoption rate. You know, it was still very early in the it's still very early, but I mean, I think Apple wanted AI intelligence to be that on ramp for a lot of people. But they just didn't have the cachet to back it up. And here we are, like you said, a year later, still waiting, still waiting.
Do
Can't
you
wait
think
till next week.
do you think when they do finally get their hands on it and get a grip around it that they'll come out with something that's like really that unique, right? Like that
Yeah, they will.
a differentiator, so to speak, right? That makes it
Yeah,
Apple, right? Yeah.
yeah, they will. Like a friend of mine, Brent Leary, is always talking to me about. He's like, we forget that Apple spent years, like a decade almost, on trying to build a car, and all of the mind share went into building the electronics of an e-car. an iCar or whatever it was, and then they folded that entire division. How much time, effort, money, brain share were, being diverted to that while AI was doing this thing? They were focused on the wrong thing.
Automobiles are not easy. There's probably 10, maybe 15 EV car companies that have
Yeah, they found
launched
out.
since Tesla that have folded, right?
They found out
Yeah,
the
it's
hard way.
tough. It's tough. It's a tough thing to do. It's a very tough thing to do to make a car from, especially from scratch.
Yeah, it is. It
Yep.
is.
Well, I
So
see
there we go.
my
Can't wait.
it's the old clock on the wall time, John. It's 2:30. I'm sure you
Ding,
got
ding,
something to
ding.
do. It's Friday afternoon. Have a great weekend, sir. We'll get this out. And I want to say on the
I
way
can't
out,
wait.
thank you to Jonathan Mast for doing the interview with me. I put that out in the social media. That'll be up on the Substack soon. I just received that today, and that was a nice thing. And I'm going to be interviewing Jonathan. He's going to come on my show. So what goes around comes around in the AIs.
Awesome. Awesome.
Great weekend, John. Much love.
Peace, guys.